I'm Andrea Clem, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today is March, I think 15th, 2018. And I'm going to be covering the new moon that is coming up this Saturday on March 17th in the constellation of Pisces. And the degrees that this new moon is taking place in is exactly, if you can see this on my screen, the new moon is right about here, and it is taking place at exactly 26 degrees in the constellation of Pisces in 51 minutes, and right beside it is the is Chiron, and Chiron is in Pisces, and Chiron is the asteroid that we call the wounded healer. It's been one of my favorite studies over the last 20 years, and Chiron looks like a key. As you can see, it looks just like a key, and it's a key to healing the pain or the things that we've suffered from, or the places within us that we feel like we have a wound. And if we're human, we're all having some sort of feeling or experiences that sometimes feel like it is a wound. So this new moon particularly is at 26 degrees in the constellation of Pisces. And that tells us, because it's a late degree in the sign, that there's a lot of things that a lot of us are finishing up in our lives. There's a lot of things that we're still completing, we're finding conclusion for, and they're of an emotional type or of a karmic type. We're learning how to deal with unresolved feelings and emotions, which are very deep within us, which we are able to find resolve for. It's interesting, Pisces. Years ago, I met someone, and she said to me, Pisces is the one symbol that, it has a duality to it, and it's the last zodiac sign of the zodiac. And she said it is either the person who has this energy or has planets in this sign are either a guppy or they're a piranha, meaning that they can be extremely deceptive and disguising of the truth, meaning non-transparent, or they can be that guppy, that very gentle little being that is very compassionate and caring and has unconditional love for all and everything in the world. And so I always remembered that, and it is a sign that does bring up deep emotions, and there's a lot of imaginative stirrings, influence, new beginnings that are being stimulated. And I want to just tell you about something that I have been asked so many times, when especially I'm so often asked what astrology is and why would I study it. And when I was first introduced to astrology, this was my question as well. I was lucky to study with some of the most renowned astrologers in the world and learned that astrology is a science that studies the systems around us, that provides a method to understand the systems within us. We are but one small light of an incredible divine creation, and scientifically, it is proven that our human DNA pattern matches the DNA cyclical pattern of our solar system. And as the great philosopher Trismegistus Hermes said, as above, so below, astrology does not take over your own intuitive sense, but it provides a means to look deeper into our own human psyche and life patterns, giving us an understanding into our DNA, our individual DNA soul prints that were created at the time of our birth using a birth chart. So, when I do readings, when I'm providing insight, when I'm offering that insight to other people, I'm looking into their personal life patterns, and I'm providing exact dates of unfolding of experiences, and I can offer ideas and suggestions in how to manage your life cycles with more ease and grace. And so this Pisces new moon, as I talked about before, it's actually quite stressed in effect to Mars, and Mars is that planet of action, of anger, of frustration, and it can also be jealousy. But Mars is in this universal chart is showing us where many people on a universal level are very active, and that is the ninth house, which is beliefs, truth, understanding. They want to figure out or look forward. Sagittarius is the sign it's in. And it's a lot of people on an active search for truth and knowledge and understanding, and for fairness and for justice. And when we look and we see all these red lines that go right down to Scorpio, to Pisces, we see that that's a very stressed area of this universal chart. And so I think that there's a lot of people that are confused to some degree, or really don't have the answers to the things that they're looking for answers to, and that they are looking for answers for those areas of their life where they're very wounded, or where they're feeling pain, deep pain. And the other thing that I see, which does provide us, and this is a really nice part of this chart, is Jupiter. Jupiter just turned retrograde just this past week. And so Jupiter, being the biggest, largest planet in our solar system, it expands, it magnifies, it makes things bigger. And I actually put an article on my Facebook, Turn to the Stars Facebook page about this the other day. And what it's doing is it's expanding the energy of Scorpio, which is the energy of the investigator, the detective, the one who's trying to figure out, identify what the underlying patterns are, so that they can change them and make it different. Change it, make it different, understand it, bring it to the surface, and there be a transition of some type. And you can see that with Jupiter over here in the 8th house, there's a lot going on with banks, lending institutions, probably the stock market, any big company or financial institution that deals with a lot of money, value systems. And seeing the trines down to Pisces tells us that people's values, people's level of understanding of each other is flowing a lot easier than the norm. So that's really nice to see. And the other thing that is really nice to see in this astrology universal chart, and we do look at new moons, full moons, new moon, like we're on a new moon now, and this is the first new moon since the solar eclipse that occurred on back in at the end of they say we're in March right now, the 15th, so at the end of February we had a total solar eclipse, which was bringing up a lot of things from the past for so many people. And if you're a fixed sign, meaning Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio, you're having a really hard time letting go of control and realizing that there's something bigger than you at play here. And so that's probably one of the areas that you need the most time to just find some sense of peace with. And what we do see here in this chart, and with this new moon, on this new moon Saturday, is we see Venus, the lover, the glue that binds us together, relationships. All these areas are inspired right next to Mercury. So there's a lot of communication about progress, about forward movement, about what is our next step? What are we going to start? What are we going to begin? And what direction is that going to take us? And in the direction that it takes us, what are we creating? That's the north node of the moon here, which is in the 5th house. So there's a lot of energy around children, a lot of energy around expression, a lot of energy around art, and and it is, and this is what we call fire energy. So to me, that indicates that there's, we're going to be lucky with these things that we're starting at this time, and that there's a lot of leadership. There's a lot of people that are saying, let's try this out. Let's try something new. Let's see what this looks like. And I do want to remind you that just right around the corner on March 22nd, Mercury is going to turn retrograde. Mercury is the planet of communication, of decision making. It is the planet of logic and reason. It rules over computers. It rules over, mechanical items. It rules over understanding and misunderstandings when it's retrograde. So you'll feel it stationing as we approach the 22nd. That means that the energy around us feels a bit unsteady, and it's so easy to have misunderstandings during a Mercury retrograde. And it is retrograde through the 15th of April in the sign of Aries, which is a very progressive sign, can be almost aggressive at times, because what does the Aries do? They typically, on the more unevolved side, they put their head down, they got an idea, they charge forward, they bang their head into the wall, and they say, oh my God, how did I get here? Why did I take that action? So I would encourage you to use this time, especially Aries people, especially Leo people, especially Sagittarius people. You're all the fire signs of the zodiac. Take your time, research, redo, revisit. During Mercury's retrograde, things are unstable. We are not getting the answers directly during this time. We're going to have to research the things that we are thinking about taking action on right now as I speak. So it'd be really good for you to use this time to find that means to a brighter future. So again, this energy of this new moon in Pisces. I wrote down some things this morning that I was thinking of in preparation for this show. Dreams and visions will be very enhanced during this time with Pisces. Deep emotions and imagination will be stirred, influencing new beginnings. Pisces comes at the end of the winter, being a very creative sign, and what it does is, if you live up north, it puts you inside. You're inside with people more, and so you have to learn how to understand others emotionally and how to respond to them emotionally. During this new moon, you might find yourself filling up with sensitivity or compassion, and that type of energy is very present. It's a great time for healers. It's a great time for people who are very sensitive, musicians. All of the sensitivities are very enhanced during this new moon in Pisces. Be careful about obsession, because any of the water signs are more prone toward obsession. That's Pisces, that's Scorpio, and that's Cancer. More prone toward, if you like something, let's do it to the nth degree, especially, well, Jupiter's in Scorpio right now. If you are very sensitive, this is a time that you can feel very deeply hurt or deeply sustained. This is a time that can really enhance unconditional love. This new moon inspires selflessness, inspires the selflessness, the understanding of pain, and it will inspire people to help others to heal into, and in the essence, pull people together. It's interesting because this new moon, as I talked about, trines Jupiter in Scorpio. And so it will be very helpful in transforming our feelings. We can really be a detective of what we really feel deeply about. And I want to also tell you, this is a deeply creative time that we have to look deep to create, because we don't really need to look deep. There is a depth of energy around us with Pisces. The old ruler was Jupiter, and the modern ruler is Neptune. So Neptune can bring either confusion or clarity, transparency, depth, and understanding, and Jupiter expands on that. So this new moon should help us to see past the pain and what can help someone heal. And it is truly through pain that we do learn how to heal. And there's definitely emotional intelligence that's very evident, giving us answers of how to make changes in our physical, in our spiritual life. And one of the things that I want to just bring up during this broadcast about the new moon in Pisces is that there is going to be a level of irritation or irritating moments with Mars squaring Pisces, where people just are pushing so hard ahead. The challenge will be with that square to all that Pisces to slow down, to not give up, when people who are very sensitive can't keep up. So it's important. That's an important thing to understand. Challenges you to leave behind the past. Don't give up. Be resilient. This is a mutable square. There's several of them here. Several of them that are showing up in this universal chart. It challenges us to see and remember the positivity, falling down but hanging on to the power of divine support. It's time to dream again. That's what Pisces is about, the dreamer, the visionary. A lot of Pisces people end up going into religious fields where they can work in a singular way rather than be overwhelmed by so many different facets of life and responsibility. And you could feel at this time a little bit lost, a little bit dazed. But it is truly a time of reflecting, of endings and new beginnings coming into our lives. And what I did want to also tell you is there's something that I just learned just recently, and it has been amazingly helpful to me. And it came from a friend of mine who I've had for years, and her very, very gifted boyfriend. And they're two very special people from out west, and they have a center called Profound Wellness, and it's Julian Santini and John Mercedes. And John taught me something to help me with something that I've been very frustrated about in my life. And so this is something that I say every day. I say, and it takes me out of a place of fear, out of a place of anger, out of a place of resentment, where I can see everything fair and just. And if I could teach this to you and you can apply it in your life in whatever way you can, that would be a wonderful thing. And I think that you will feel things change in your life into much more of a positive way. So it goes like this. I am the new divine power. I am the new divine light. I am the new divine love. I am the new divine design. I am a generator of the new divine design of fairness and justice. And then through your mind's eye, I'd like to ask you to see everyone and everything that feels like it is pushing against you or pulling at you, or there's unfairness, or there's anger associated with it. I'd like you to see as if you're standing under a waterfall and there is this divine light or waterfall that is washing over you and everyone involved, washing away all the pain, washing away all the anger, washing away all the unfairness, the injustice that's in the world, that's around you, that's around your friends, that's around your family. And, just see that water just keep washing through every chakra of their body, of which there are 7 major chakras. And just see that falling over their head gently and down, going through their bodies and your body and everybody involved. And if you could do this, close your eyes during the day at any time you can, whether it be first thing in the morning or at night, and do this practice at least 16 times. And again, I'm passing this information, this mantra, along from somebody I was taught it, who taught it to me. And his name is John Mercedes of Profound Wellness out in Colorado. And I think that when we learn these things, which are so incredibly helpful, that we should pass them on to each other and help to create and massage and add that support to other people in their lives. So the next I did before the end of the show, I did want to make mention of a couple things, and one of them being the death yesterday of Dr. Hawking, who I had so much respect for. What an incredible man. I looked at his chart last night, his birth chart. I did not have his birth time, but I looked at his chart and I saw that, there's signatures in astrology of different traits, different gifts, different challenges that we face in life. And he had what we call Mercury in Capricorn in trine to Uranus in Taurus. And that is a signature of a very brilliant man that was able to teach, was able to talk to people in a way that they could understand. And so if you look on Turn to the Stars Facebook page, you'll see that article I wrote and a 12 noon chart of Dr. Hawking with just a overview. And I did also want to talk to you that I'm going to soon be doing a broadcast about the royal wedding that's to come, that's coming up between, I don't have the exact dates, but the next royal wedding, I think it's in May. I did the royal wedding for Kate and William back in 2011 on NBC in Boston, CW56, and I really talked about their compatibility and their, what the road looked like ahead, presently for their wedding and ahead. So I plan on doing that also. So I hope you'll tune in and stay tuned in to Turn to the Stars. I appreciate all your continued support, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Please do stay in touch. I love to hear from each and every one of you. But until then, please do take good care. And as my daughter taught me from her Latin classes, Kura ut valias means take care that you be well. And always remember, turn to the stars and you'll find your answers there. Take good care.